What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another video from the 10-7 MMA channel. And it's over. UFC 319 has concluded. I was actually planning to come back and do a live stream, but I ended up catching up with a buddy of mine. And so I'm just getting back. It's now 1:52 in the morning, Chicago time. But I had to make a video because holy smokes. Now, I'm only going to talk about Khamzat Chimaev versus DDP. Actually, maybe I'll sprinkle in some things about some of the other fights because it was a great main card, I thought, in my opinion. I thought all of the main fights on the main card were incredible. Obviously, we had 2 first-round finishes back-to-back with spinning elbows. What are the odds of that? That's crazy. But let's talk about the main event. This is crazy. And the headline is that Khamzat not only won, but he dominated. Now, if you're a Khamzat hater, guarantee you're probably like, oh, that was boring, blah, 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 right? We heard the audience booing like crazy. I was turning around and being like, what are you guys booing about? Let me explain something. What we saw was something that we should marvel at. That's something that we should celebrate because the way the victory happened, the odds were probably so slim. Nobody was saying Khamzat by 5-round decision. Nobody, not a single person. Everybody said, dude, I heard people saying it in the stadium, in the arena, in the bathrooms. I heard people talking like this tired narrative that everybody's been repeating ad nauseum, which is just like the laziest way to say it. If it finishes early, it's going to be Khamzat. But if it gets into round 3, man, I think DDP is going to start to take over. Everybody's been saying that. It's like over, rinse, repeat, again. Like nobody has any creative thinking about it or not really paying attention to the whole story as it develops, right? We've been hearing by a lot of people, myself included, that I thought that the bad cardio narrative was BS. On top of that, he's training with Coach Calavita. Nobody thought it was going to do anything, right? MMA Guru is one of those folks. And I don't even know if he even ever had bad cardio. That's the real question, but it doesn't matter. The point is the way that he won, even if people thought it wasn't as exciting based on what they were expecting. They were expecting a fast finish, a frenetic pace. Actually, I was so impressed with everything he did because he got him on the ground and he worked it. He worked it carefully. He didn't do anything too aggressive to potentially lose position, and he dominated. 50-44 was crazy to me. I thought he got at least a couple 10-8s. That means a 50-44 is only one 10-8. The rest were 10-9s, right? I thought there were multiple rounds where he got a 10-8. Dricus did great in the 5th round. He had his moment. Obviously, I believe Khamzat still won the 5th round, and which obviously was reflected on the judges' scorecards. But I mean, Dricus, you have to give Dricus props for hanging in there after just, dude. Imagine how frustrating that must have been for Dricus just to be laid on top of. He said in the post-fight interview, it wasn't necessarily that Khamzat was strong, but it was like he was anticipating his moves before he could make them. Now, if we go back to something that Dustin Poirier said way back in the day when he fought Khabib, he said something similar. He's like, it's not that he was strong. He's like, it's just his balance and positioning was so perfect that I just couldn't get away. I couldn't get out from underneath. And I think we're seeing the exact same thing with Khamzat. Maybe Dricus said it in a different way, but it's his just like understanding of wrestling, grappling, weight distribution, where you're probably trying to go when you do something and just anticipating it and being there ahead of time to stop it. Like, this is next level stuff. And Dricus, again, to his credit, as I've mentioned many times, I'm a big fan of Dricus, and there were kids behind me crying in the audience that were hardcore DDP fans. When DDP lost, they were crying. DDP is a beloved fighter, especially in his nation of South Africa, but even beyond. I think he's got fans worldwide, And I feel for the guy. I feel for his fans. I feel for the fan base. And he's, dude, the way he was coming out, still smiling, still getting the crowd involved, dude, that guy he's just a legend. He's a legend. But it's like, the things that people have been pointing out, kind of, it made sense, when people pointed out the difficulty he had with Derek Brunson and saying with Khamzat, it's going to be an even more crazy game. No, to his credit, though, one thing I will say, to his credit, Lawrencenko and Dean Thomas, or Lawrencenko in particular, felt that maybe DDP was going to get submitted because there were several openings where he left his neck open and whatnot when he fought Derek Brunson. And he's like, well, if that was Khamzat, he would have submitted him for sure. So I think a lot of people were thinking Khamzat was going to get the submission. To DDP's credit, he could not. I was watching. He was controlling Khamzat's wrist really well to prevent the submission, to prevent the choke. I think he was trying to get a rear naked at one point. He kept trying to lock it up, but he just couldn't get it in there. I think Dricus was also doing a great job of ducking his chin. I'm sure of tucking his chin. Excuse me. I'm sure they were working a ton on that. So we have to give a lot of credit to Dricus for surviving, because I think a lot of people thought once he got in that position in round one, it was going to be a quick finish, but it wasn't. He hung in there. And not only that, imagine how frustrating it must have been for DDP to go through and just basically be dominated like that, but then have a moment, a flash in round 5 where I was on the edge of my seat. I was freaking out. I was like, oh my God, is he going to pull this upset off? This is crazy. Of course, I was rooting for Khamzat and really wanted him to win. But like, that's dude, DDP, man, you just never know if he's gonna pull something out of the hat, pull a rabbit out at the last minute, right? Like, even if you look at the Izzy fight, it looked like he was losing that entire fight until he all of a sudden switched it up and came around. And I'm like, is this gonna happen? Are you kidding me? After 4 rounds of domination with 3 minutes left in the 5th round, is he gonna turn it around? But Khamzat was able to outmaneuver and get out from underneath, which was also cool. That was another thing. Like, people who are crapping on this fight, do you guys are not paying attention? Khamzat's never been on his back. He finally got put on his back, and we got to see that. He finally went 5 rounds. We got to see that. We got to see him wrestle the entire time and barely show any signs of, I don't even think he was a bit tired. I think Dricus was more tired than him for sure. Well, maybe not. Dricus had some explosive stuff at the end, but at least they were both fine. They were both ready to go and continuing to, able to keep going. I know people wanted an exciting finish here. I understand that. A quick finish, an exciting finish. That's what we become accustomed to with Khamzat Chimaev. But this was 10 times scarier. The one way that everybody thought Dricus or anybody was going to beat Khamzat was by taking him into deep waters. And now we see maybe a new form of Khamzat, maybe the same old Khamzat. Maybe he never had an issue with cardio from the get-go, which is also a strong hypothesis that I considered, Lorosenko considered, etc., that it was just overblown. It was a pacing issue. Whatever the case may be, this myth, this narrative, this nonsensical thing about Khamzat's cardio, I think, has finally been put to bed. So now what? Now what are people in the middleweight division supposed to do? Lucky punch? Puncher's chance? Is that what we're talking about? Because nobody's going to have the same grappling skills. It's not going to happen. DDP was probably one of the guys that may have been the toughest on the ground. Is Mavov going to have this type of grappling ability? Maybe Kyle has some great jiu-jitsu. I mean, but like, when it comes to just pure wrestling, actually the MMA wrestling in particular, who's going to be able to stand up to it? I don't know. Obviously, anything can happen in MMA. We all know this, right? Anybody can lose. So it's still an unpredictable thing. But my point is we are potentially seeing what I've been talking about for a long time, potentially the beginning of a run that could really, really be impressive. Because if you just look skill to skill on a matchup basis, man, I can't really think of a fight where at least the odds would be in against Khamzat. I can't think of anybody where it'd be like, all right, this is going to be a tough challenge. And probably he's going to be a plus 150. Is it ever going to happen? Maybe if he moved up and like tried to fight Tom Aspinall or something. I don't see it in the middleweight division. Anyways, man, it was very exciting. I was screaming the whole time. I was standing up the whole time. I got some cool footage that I'm going to upload and maybe show on the show on Monday from just being in the atmosphere and feeling the energy. Oh, I also didn't show you guys this too. Check this out. I got glasses. So I can see close pretty well, but seeing far has been getting blurrier, I guess you could say, for the last couple of years. Yeah, I got to take these off right now because it's hard for me to even see the screen because it's too close. But I got glasses specifically for this fight so I could see clearly. It made such a difference. Compared when I was at 317, I was like a little closer here. I think you could basically say I was like 10th row because I'm not on the floor. I was the second row of the lower deck, but it's kind of on the floor. It's like barely. I thought it was going to be more elevated, but there's only 8 rows on the floor, so I was pretty close. At 317, I was on the floor, but I think I was like, I don't know, the 17th row or something. So I was closer, but with my glasses on, dude, I could see right in, like, beautifully into the octagon. But then every time they go to the ground, I'm looking up, but the glasses still help there. Anyways, my point is, I came prepared. I came ready to marvel at this event. And again, I was prepared for it to go. I mean, it's a fight. It can go anyway. DDP is crazy. He's so unpredictable. We don't know, right? I was prepared for that, and I would have celebrated DDP, okay? Because he deserves it. He's a great fighter. He's a great competitor. He's been a great champion. But of course, what I'm excited about here, not only just being a Khamzat Chimaev fan since 2020 and him being my favorite fighter in the UFC, but I also believe that this can be really, really good for the UFC and the sport of mixed martial arts because he's one of those superstars like Conor McGregor. I really do think he has that same capacity and potential to help not only build his own brand, but along with it, just carry the UFC with him because he's going to be must-see TV. Just like I believe Islam, but even more so, just like Ilia Topuria, right? Just like these guys in the upper echelon of the sport. He is that new driver. And I think people are really going to be excited. And now, right? What else have people been saying? The inactivity. He's saying he wants to fight in October. Is that real? I mean, I don't see why not. What, he took like 2 or 3 or 4 strikes that fight. Like, he might be back in October. Yo, people are going to go crazy. This is so good. It's so good. I'm thrilled. I'm happy. For those of you guys who are out there, I know a lot of you are not fans of Khamzat. You know, some might call you Khamzat haters. Maybe you take another look at him. Maybe you give him another shot now. You know, I know a lot of people were thinking that Khamzat was all hype, that he was going to get, you know, fraud check, the whole thing, right? What does a fraud check even mean? People are going to lose in the UFC. You know, what is Charles Oliveira? Did he get fraud check because he lost to Ilia Topuria? It's just how it goes sometimes. But anyways, either way, for those folks, I invite you to give him a shot. Be open-minded. You know, you don't have to love everything and all the antics and all the stuff that he does, but just as a pure fan of the sport, sit back and enjoy, because this is what it's all about. Seeing greatness materialize, reach the goals that it should reach, and then try and reach the unreachable. Who knows what he's going to do from here out? It's amazing. So glad I went to this event. So glad I planned it ahead of time. I made it out here. Absolutely incredible. Guys, let me know what you guys think in the comments. What do you think of this fight? What do you think of this performance? I'm just absolutely blown away. Yeah, it's a good day to be a Khamzat fan. So that's it. Khamzat Chimaev, the middleweight champion of the world. UFC, let's go. Khamzat Chimaev, let's go. That's all I got for you guys. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you guys so much for joining. We'll see you in the next video. Take it easy.